Hello everybody. Uh, I am Lala de Dios, and today in this space for Encuentro, we have the great pleasure and the great honor to have a very important guest, Beatrijs Sterk. Beatrijs Sterk, I think many of you will know a lot about her already, but for those of you who doesn't know her well, I can tell you that she was the founder with other people of the European Textile Network back in the 90s in Europe, an association which is still working, and she will tell us about it. And she was also, before the founding of European Textile Network, she had also founded a magazine, Textile Forum, which is very, very much missed by the textile community worldwide. The magazine started in German, and then it had two versions, in German and in English. Hello, Beatrijs. Welcome.
Hello.
How are you?
I'm fine. I'm just back from Portugal, from the Cone Textile, and it was a wonderful experience to be in Rio with people together again.
Yes, I know. I feel the same. Can you please tell us something about your how did you start with what did you study? How did you start with textiles? Can you tell us something about your business?
I started with textile when I was 6 years old. I made a wall hanging, and everybody was so pleased with it that I thought I'm going in textiles. And I studied textiles for 4 years in the Netherlands, and then 1 year weaving in Finland. And I have stayed in textiles ever since. When I went to Germany, that was in 1970, it was because of Dietmar, my partner and husband. And when I went to Germany, there was nothing in textiles in Germany. And therefore, I started to do my own workshop, and it was called Workshop Center for Creativity in Hanover. And this one still exists, and it now has its 50th birthday next year. And I am involved in the festivities and the organization of this. And it feels like being very old when you have something founded that is 50 years old, you see.
Yeah.
And Textile Forum was started in 1982, and it was because of there was nothing going on in Germany really in terms of activities, and we wanted to activate the things a bisschen. And Dietmar was very much into magazines, and he said a magazine will make it, that will help the people to come together and to do things. And so we founded an association, and it was for German-speaking countries, and that was at that time Switzerland, Austria, and the two Germanys. There was a Germany East and West. And that association went on until the end of the 80s. And then the Berlin Wall came down. And when Dietmar was from Berlin, and when that wall came down, then we thought we now have to look at the other side. What are the people doing at the other side of the Iron Curtain? So then we did a trip to nearly all the countries. It took a few years to visit all the countries, but we have nearly visited all the countries, and it was a very exciting time. And then we thought we must do Textile Forum in English also. And the English copy has never paid off. It was, how to say, you couldn't do it to get rich or to earn money with it, but we thought we have to make it in English. And it was good that we did it, because if we would have stayed in German, then you would not have had a wider reach. And where was I? The European Textile Network, that started in one first meeting in Erfurt, that is in Germany East, and it was later the next year. It was founded under the umbrella of the European textile, of the European what is it? In yes, no, the what is it called again?
Under French law?
Of Europe, under the umbrella of the Council of Europe in Strasbourg. And that was very official and so, and well. And ever since the organization has been with us in Hannover, and later with you in Spain, and now it is in Haslach. And our next meeting will be in St. Petersburg in Russia. Let's hope that it is possible in 91 in May.
Yeah. And why do you think, why did you establish the European Textile Network? They say ETN. We are going to say ETN from now
Yes.
on. Why did you establish ETN? What for? Yeah. What were the aims?
Yes. Well, in the beginning, it was to unify East and West and to see what are people doing on the other side of the Iron Curtain and what are we doing. And there was a lot of contacts necessary, and that came also via this European Textile Network. And it was very important that they planned things together. And the Brussels organization, I always mix up the two. The one who gives the money, they gave money for projects. And I heard later from a lot of people from, for example, St. Petersburg, that since they were in ETN, they had many questions to work together with Finland and other countries on an academic level. And they were very pleased with that. So later it came also with you. That we found out that the South is as little integrated as the North, and then we also started to work in that direction. And I think from the beginning we also found that it should be worldwide, that everybody from the whole of the world could be a member, because we didn't want to center only on Europe. And the idea was to make cooperations together and to make meetings. And in the beginning, we had a meeting every year. The first 10 or 12 meetings were 1 year after the other, but real work. And then we did some projects like the textile routes, 2 times the textile routes, and a lot of other projects.
Mm-hmm. Well, and then when I should, maybe for the people who are listening to us, maybe for the younger people, I should say that when Beatrijs says meeting the European Textile Network was to join, more or less, to establish a link between East and West, she's referring to Europe, the West of Europe and the East of Europe.
Yes,
because at the time we had a very different political situation. It was the times of the Iron Curtain and things like that. So it was very important. The vision was that textile culture could establish a link, could work as a good link with the people from the institutions, artists, museums from the East of Europe. And so establish cooperation and increase the mutual knowledge. Because maybe the government, the political was very divided, but people, we can always talk to people and find links with people. I suppose this is right?
Mm-hmm. We had one member from every country, from museums, from schools, from teaching, and from artist organizations. And if they didn't have the money to become a member, they became a free member. And when we invited people in the beginning, in the first 10 years, we had also money to invite these people, because there was also a big gap in what people earned and how they could travel. It was not possible for the Russians, for example.
Yeah. And so later, when you retired from ETN, and I took over ETN for several years, and now it is in Haslach in Austria. But now that you are more or less retired from ETN, what are you doing now?
What I'm doing? I'm writing my blog, and I have still 5 things to write for my blog, from exhibitions that I've seen. For example, the Cone Textile exhibitions that we have just seen together. I've made photos and I'm going to write about it. And it was very interesting and very good to have been there. And there is still a lot on my list. I have seen extra large. After in June, I could travel again to the Netherlands, and then there I've seen 2 exhibitions. Extra large is an exhibition about French state tapestries from Lursa till today. And the French state has a lot of tapestries that they have never shown. So there were huge things in Rotterdam in the art hall, and it was very interesting to see them and to be able to make pictures of them. So that will be in my blog. And also the paper biennial. There was the paper biennial. There is a textile and a paper biennial in Rijswijk, that is near Den Haag. And the paper biennial, the curator has gone, so I'm not sure if it goes on, and that would be a big pity because that was a real important thing. The curator said once that she liked paper and textile because it is not so heavy, it has not the whole weight of importance, and it is more free and more playful. And I like that idea. And it was always in her choice. You could see that. And now that she is away, I am afraid that there is nobody to replace her. And I'm not sure how it goes on. So it is good that I have seen this last one. And then there was another exhibition that I liked very much in Frankfurt. It is called Fantastic Women. Nothing to do with textile, only a little bit. But it was a fantastic exhibition. It seems it came out when they did the exhibition that there were many, many women who were in surrealism. And it is called From Merit Oppenheim to Frida Kahlo. But there were a lot more women who did. They went to Paris and they wanted to be free. And so they gathered there and made friendships. And I think that was a whole atmosphere of the 20s, what we don't know now how that was, but women using their freedom. And it looked like surrealism being a totally women thing. And I didn't know that. So I show you the book. Can you show the picture number 11? Thomas?
Yeah, don't worry. You will come.
It will come? I have.
Lala. That's Fantastic Women.
Yeah, it is in German, but it is also in English for people who want to buy it.
Can you tell us something about this exhibition?
It was 25 women, and it was an exhibition. You were dead when you had seen it because it was so much. And the only thing I did not like about it, that they had painted all the walls red. So it made the impression of you entered a very private something. But the ideas and the paintings and the material things they made, it was just fantastic. Something, and you can still see it. It is near Copenhagen, in Louisiana, museum there, and it is still on for several months. So anybody who can go to Denmark should see it.
Looks very, very interesting.
And then I've seen another exhibition that was called Lee Minkwai. Lee Minkwai is an artist who did a mending project on the biennial in 2017, and he mended my shirt. So then we got to talk together, and he said his teacher was Leah Cook, the textile artist Leah Cook, and his mending was not something textile, but it was something about giving and rituals of giving. And what did he say? Well, rituals of giving. And this time he had a big exhibition in Gropiusbau. It is a big museum in Berlin, and all his projects were exhibited there. So it was not textile again, but very, very interesting. So and all that I still have to write. I was very lazy this summer.
Okay, yeah. Well, maybe this summer, these last months, we had to cope with the situation,
Yes.
this extraordinary situation we are living. So we had to cope with that also. Something you said before is interesting for me. Talking about this small museum near the Hague, the museum where the paper biennials and the
Yes. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
which maybe because the curator, which was a very good professional, maybe because the curator has retired, now there are doubts about about the way the museum is going to work in the future. So sometimes it's dangerous when an institution, maybe a museum, maybe an association, depends so much in just one person.
But it is very often the case.
Yeah.
It's very often the case. Mm-hmm.
There's a little bit of this in ETN also, because when you decide to retire, we were wondering if ETN could go on, remember? And I can see, I have seen this kind of thing happening in other associations too. So I think it's very important to have a collective behind, to have a group of people that can go on with our work.
Yes.
And to adapt to the changes that are needed so that the institution, the association, the museum can go on.
Yes.
What do you think about this?
But I'm very happy that Christina and Andreas are taking over in Haslag because they are 20 years younger than I am, and they are a new generation, and they have a whole group of people around them. So they have a museum and they have a festival to organize. So they are doing, maybe the only thing that is a little bit difficult is that they are living so far off from everything. They are managing a very big museum, a former weaving mill, and that weaving mill is as big as the city where it is in. So it has completely absorbed the whole city, and then it was empty, and then they had to do something with it. And so it's a lot of work for Christina and Andreas to fill that gap. So they have now a university course for weaving, for jacquard weaving, and courses for all kinds of things. During the winter and in the summer, they have summer courses for the people who come from far. And they have a very good festival and a market. The market is famous for the whole of far beyond Austria. And I've always admired what she's doing. So I was very happy that she, from the younger generation, took over. But you're right, it was in your case, so that it depends always too much on the work of one person.
And because I'm thinking also of this organization that is hosting us now here in this. This is the pre-biennial organized by World Textile Art Organization, founded by Pilar Tobón, our friend. And personally, I like very much the way things are moving in this organization, because for example, this event we are having now, we have been invited to take part in this event, and it's something very new. I think it's the first time a textile biennial, okay, call it pre-biennial if you want, but it's a biennial, is completely online and open to other way to communicate and to share ideas and to join people, because at the end we have 130 people listening to us in this moment, and there will be many more later when this is on YouTube. And this was completely new. Nobody thought of this kind of thing when Pilar started this organization.
Yes, so, I remember when Pilar started, it was called Women in the Textile Arts then. And I was a little bit suspicious of this title. And then it developed slowly into World Textile Art. And I like that title a lot better. And it became better every year when it happened again. More important every year, I think. And I have been at the last 3, maybe, or the last 4, I have been with them since 2009. And then I did not miss any.
Yeah.
And what they are doing now with this online thing, that of course, when you are living in Chile, it's very important that you have access to things, and it's very good idea, especially in this time of Corona, that you can do everything online.
Okay, let's go to another point. You are really one of the you are an expert in textile art. You have been following textile art, visiting exhibitions, taking part in juries for many years. So how do you see the situation now in textile art? Because you know very well. Just a minute, please.
Yes.
You know well that we are now seeing a lot of textiles in contemporary art museums, for example,
Yes.
art galleries, and this has never happened 20 years ago. It's relatively something more or less new. And I don't know what is this. Well, I have an idea why this is so, but I would like to listen to your opinion about it.
Yes. Well, I think that this whole thing with the fine art and textile that started in 2014, and maybe it was 2 years earlier in America, but here it started with this book. Maybe that is book number 1. Book number 1, Art and Textiles.
Slide number 1.
Very big museum I will show it when it won't come.
It's here, yeah.
Yeah, that's the one. Yes. It's that book too, it exists in English, the complete thing in English. And of course, I have the German one. And in that, they wanted to show stuff, also fabric, as material and idea in art. From Klimt to today, it said. And they had paintings and they had all kind of textiles used in art. And it was really interesting. They had, of course, little craft, because that is the problem, that such people then forget that there are a lot of people who are doing all the time in textiles, and they showed only fine art in textiles. But it was nevertheless very good, very well done. And the curator worked 3 years on that book, and it's also a very good book. And that was in 2014. And then there came the next important step, was fiber sculpture to the present. That was in Boston. And that is book number 2. Yeah. And that was Chanella Porter who was doing it. And she really discovered that there is something like the textile biennials. And she made this whole book about 1960 she's writes to the present, but she means to 1980 about. And she then shows everything, what was done at the Lausanne Biennial. And it was a real revolution. From 1960 to 70, the textile people kind of broke out of conventions, and it were the Polish, headed by Magdalena Abakanowicz, who went wild with textiles and who took over the whole biennial. And Chanella Porter did these people together with young people. Yes, she had the present too, because she had young people. And this book was very important, because what is missing is a real good description of the history. The last book that was written was by Michel Thomas, and he has written the book on textile art in 1989. That was the last one I know of. And since then, there is no history of textile art. And so textile art somehow in the history of art doesn't exist. And this is really a problem. And then what was after that? Then came Entangled, picture number 3. And this was in 2017. And of course, I visited all those things. And here, the curator had looked in all the archives, what artists have we overseen? And that were mostly women and mostly textiles. And then she found out that there were such a lot of textiles and such a lot of interesting women in textiles that she gathered them together and made a whole new arrangement of them. And there were also craftspeople in them. The English people who know about craft, they say that they didn't ask people who were in the know and who could have told them who are the important ones. They found out themselves. So people from fine art found out themselves, and of course then they missed some, and therefore it was not, let's say, it did not cover everything. And then after 2017, it started to calm down a little bit, this eruption of interest for textile art. And then came a period where they showed famous women in textile art. So like Hanna Rügen. Hanna Rügen is a Danish artist, and she was the first to be in the Documenta in 2015 already. And then she had her own exhibition. Where is Hanna? That is picture number 6.
Excuse me, can you repeat the number?
Picture number 6, Hanna Rügen.
Yes. Thank you.
And you can't find it? Anyway, it looks like this, her work.
Yeah.
It's from the beginning of the century. And of course,
Yeah, yes. Yeah, it's here, Beatrijs. It was here a minute ago. Just wait a minute.
the screen is not showing.
Number 6, please. Yeah, here. Thank
Yes,
you.
that is Hanna Rügen. And after that, number 7, that is Annie Albers. The famous Annie Albers.
Number 7 now.
And Annie Albers was in 2 places, in Düsseldorf and in London. I think it was in, when was it?
Also in Bilbao, Spain.
Annie Albers was in 2018 and 19. This one.
Yes. It was also in Bilbao, in the Guggenheim.
Yes. And then, so it calmed a little bit down, but then there were, from the other side, there was a lot of interest from textile people in things that were done in fine art. And and from that I can tell what my favorites are. And that is number 8. Shiharu Shiota. It is a woman living in Berlin, and she makes big environments with threads. And she is not a textile person, but she works in a way that I think she works really with textiles. And her work is so big that she cannot do it alone, and that she needs a lot of helpers to make her stuff. Yes, that's her. And that was in this Gropiusbau. It is a huge hall, and there were letters in this in these threads with text about the place. And then the other one I like very much is number 4, El Anatsui. I think of him as a textile artist, although he is working with metal, and he is working huge pin. Number 4. 4. No? El Anatsui. Let's see if we get it.
Okay, just a question. You are kind of, this is history of the last exhibitions featuring textile art and textile history and textile artists in big museums. But this is a Lana suite here. I was really asking for the reasons for this interest, because this meant a change with the previous years.
You mean the reason why people in fine art used textiles?
No, why a contemporary art museum suddenly is very interested in organizing these exhibitions?
I asked them.
Why in the Venice Biennial in 17 there was so much textile, and also in Kassel is a whole picture. Why is that? Why is this so?
Well, why that is so? I asked them all the curators, and they all said the same. They said many things, but all said the same. And that was that since the computer is there, the people are hungry for things they can touch and for things they can that are real and that are not on screen. And so they all said that was one of the big reasons why they use textiles themselves.
Yes, I heard that reason, and I have also heard that is also because now the contemporary art somehow has broken the borders. It's not only painting, not only sculpture, not only the traditional arts, but it has expanded to new disciplines: photography, film, video, textile, ceramic, metal, everything. And also is more inclusive also in respect of women artists. We are seeing a lot of women artists also, and also artists coming from other countries, not only European, not only American from the USA, not only Japanese, but we're also starting to see in contemporary art fairs like Frieze in London. In the last one,
the forgotten people like the women and the Africans are now entering.
Textile artists were among the forgotten people, and now they are becoming the pioneers. All the ones you say, Abakanovich, Alves, Hicks, and now they are rediscovering a lot of new people. And that's well, my opinion, and I would like to know your opinion, is that this is very good for textile artists and for textiles. What do you think?
Well, I think it is very good that the textile people embrace these movements. But personally, I think that there is also not so good things in it, because when, how shall I start? When you think of more students to nowadays, they don't want the students in fine art. They don't want to make things anymore. They want that things are done for them, and that they only bring the idea and don't have to make it. And this is done also very much with textile art in fine art. It is not done by the artists themselves. And then, unless it is very big where they can't do it themselves, like El Anatsui and the other one, Shiharashi Ota, then I don't like that it is done by others. And there was once in history, in the 60s, the freedom of textile art started with doing it themselves, that they didn't use a carton anymore and that they could do it freely. And now when this all goes back and there becomes a distance between the maker and the work, then it goes in the wrong direction, I think. So this is a point that I do not like so much, but in principle, it is very interesting that fine art has opened the borders And the textile people were always open to take in new things. But a little bit, I feel that they're taking over a little bit too much. And sometimes it goes too far. If people make a work in textile which is only a pile of blankets with nothing special to it, then, except for a very good idea, of course, then it is a pity that textile art should become also this type of art, because in textile art, I feel that there is always a little bit more interesting textiles aspect. And this interesting textile aspect is lost when you have it done by others, when it is not important who made it, and when it is only the idea. But I see that people who start with not being textile artists, like El Anatsui, that when they work in a textile way, and when they do it seriously, then they can't, it cannot be different as that they do it in the right way, in a textile way. And that is what he does.
Yeah, I agree with you. In that before at the time of the Lausanne Biennials, it was needed. The movement led by Abakanovich, Jagoda Wick, Sheila Hicks, because there was this fact of the painters that painted the cartoons, and then the tapestries were woven in Aubusson or wherever, mostly in France.
So they are now woven again in Aubusson.
Yes. To change that, it was the only, if Abakanovich, Wick, Hicks wanted to do their own thing, they had to do what they did, to claim we do all by ourselves, which I think is not completely true in all the cases, because they made very, very big works sometimes. So they must have helpers also. But
yes,
now that was back in the 60s. But now the situation is quite different, don't you think? Because now we have a technology which didn't exist before. And also, if I know it's very general, the idea of the textile art is only the work that are made by the artist with their hands. But what happens if somebody wants to use clothes, textiles that are already made? You see these big installations from Christian Boltanski, for example, and so many others that work with clothes in or Cristo. Artists working with textiles that are already there, not made by them.
Mm-hmm. It's fine to me if they do that, and it is fine to me whatever they do. And if it is good art, I will go and look. But I find a special pleasure in seeing textile art and in seeing that people are still working with textiles in a special way. And I showed Ella Natsui in order to show that it must not be textile and it must not be small, but the way he is involved in the making is such that I think he is making it himself, even if he has 10 helpers for each work, because it's really huge. And in that sense, it is the question, are you moved by the work or not? And I can give the example of Leah Cook. Leah Cook is making Shakard works, and the Shakard works of Leah Cook are done by yourself, but not always woven by yourself, because with Shaka you can have it woven everywhere. And then there is, for example, Grayson Perry, that is a potter from London or from England. And when he has let something weave, then he sends it to the factory and he said this and that color and a little bit more bumpy, and then it's done. That is all his instructions. I know it because I was in the factory and I asked what the kind of communication they had. And then I think that the result between the work of Leah Cook and the work of Grayson Perry is very different, in the sense that his works are called multiples and not weavings anymore. And Leah Cook's work are, of course, weavings. And in that sense, I feel that this is a kind of not so nice direction textiles are taking when they are becoming multiples.
Yeah, that's true. Well, just by the way, Alana Sui defines himself as a sculptor. He doesn't define himself. He doesn't say he's Alana Sui.
Yeah.
Sui.
Yes, of course. I see him as a textile person. I see the way he works as textile. So for me, it's fine. What he calls himself is his term.
Well,
I don't hear you anymore.
No, yeah, sorry. Yeah, I was trying to think, because, we have talked about this a lot of times. Just 2 days ago in Portugal, we were talking about all these things. And because this is the way we call the works, the name of the works, or the way an artist thinks and defines himself or herself. Some people say, I am a textile artist. Some people say, I am a visual artist. I am a transdisciplinary artist. I am a craft. I am an artisan.
Yes, well, that is completely up to them, what they want to tell what they are. For me, it is interesting if I like the work, and I mostly like work that is textile. And it must not be, it can be metal, or it can be big, or it can be small, but it is the spirit that comes across from the work that's, if it touches me, then I'm interested. And yeah, this is a difficult question, because sometimes it can be that people who are not textile people make better textile art than textile artists.
Yeah.
It's possible.
There is a question from the beginning of our conversation. There is a question from Josie Anaya.
Oh,
yeah.
So Josie.
A lot of people are here, a lot of friends.
Yes.
Yes, please tell the listeners what you look for in a textile artwork. What are the key points that you particularly pick up?
Okay. Good question. Yes, well, what I look for is, first of all, that it moves me.
Something that it moves you. No, but why do you consider
that I feel touched by it? And there are works where when you are in a jury, then you have to look at 100 works in 1 hour, and then there is this quick going through from no, yes, that is it, and you see it immediately, but you cannot describe it really what it is. It must not be textile, but it is important that it has a kind of intimate making. For me, it is important that the making is not accidental, but that is thought over it, and that it is logical, and that it is in the process. And then
the question was about what you look for in a textile artwork. Not in any artwork, in a textile.
Okay. In textile artwork, I think for me, it is important that the textile technique is done in a way that is not an offense to what I feel it should be. So the technique is important in that case. Yes. But that said, if the work is so good that the technique doesn't have any importance anymore, that can happen too.
Yeah.
It's a question that I have to think of longer, because it's not easy to tell what is good. But in the case of just some textiles that lay on the floor, or something that is well worked over and well thought and well. In the Lodge Triennial, I was together with some textile artists from the Nordic textile art, And they went through the exhibition, and then they said, we have seen that, and we have seen that already. There is not so much new here. And they mean with that there is something which their eye as textile artists would catch. And there was a lot of new art things, but for a textile artist, it was a little bit disappointing. And that is because they have their own very good things done already. And if then comes something new, and that is in the textile sense, nothing really interesting on it, then they were a little bit disappointed.
Yeah, because I think that textile is a media for art, like painting or sculpture. Textile is a media, and then people working in the same media understand very well what is new, what is not new, if it is well done or not. And this is normal because my husband is a painter, and in this kind of discussion, the painters also have among themselves. This is new, this is not, because they are very technical things. So I think in every media, the artists working with that media are know very well and they have a keen eye because they know what is good and what is not, what is new and what is not.
Yes.
That's normal, I think. I understand
yes.
that.
But now is the crossover. Then there come new things that are from younger artists, and they come in contact with the people who know the textile art. And there is one question. Lodge is a textile art exhibition, you see, and this, for example, Beatrijs is an exhibition that looks for art. First thing is art, and the second thing is textile. It must be art, but in textile. And that is a completely different question, because Lodge is still called a biennial of tapestry art. Yes. And if the tapestry art goes in the art direction, then why should we have any textile exhibition at all? When the Biennale went to the end, then Philippe Jeanlot was in charge at that moment. He wanted to go in the direction from the Venice Biennial. But the superiors of the town said, well, we have already a Venice Biennial and it's quite near, so why should we do it? So somehow, in going in that direction, there is a little bit a danger that then it's all suddenly it's all art and in one pot, and then there is nothing special about textile anymore, and that would be a pity.
Yeah, when talking about boots, there is a triennial of tapestry, but I think they should have changed the name long ago, because
the name, yes, and they should have changed the name, because in Beatrijs it is clear they want art, but it must be in textile, and that's a very interesting concept.
Yeah. So they say it's tapestry, but then they have embroidery, knitting, printing, so then that name doesn't apply, but not in this last triennial. From many years ago, they should have changed the name, and maybe tapestry, instead of tapestry, calling the textile art.
But don't you think that it would be a pity if there would not be extra exhibitions for textiles anymore?
No. I think just in my personal opinion, yeah, I think that there should be exhibitions for textile art. Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And
but it depends, and then it's for the artists. It's for the artist, for each artist to decide how he or she wants to manage her career. Because if he chooses to go for textile biennials and triennials, he will go one way, and he will close some other doors.
Yes.
If he chooses to go to try to go ahead in the field of art, he will go to art galleries, he will go to art competitions.
And that is the battle. I think that is the battle we have still to win, because if you then come to what does the normal people know about textile and what do they think about textile, it is a pity, but that is not much. And I can make the example of the book Vitamin T, that is book number, what is it? vitamin T. Book number 9. This book.
Yes, I know the book.
From 2019. Yeah, that's from 2019. And it is the 108 curators were asked what is a really interesting work in textiles, what impressed you very much. Those people were asked. And they searched for 138 artists. And from these artists, there are only 4 who do craft, who textile people, and they were very old already. So from all those 138 people, nothing in craft, nothing. And the curator was Janelle Porter, the same who did this book about what we had at the beginning from Boston. And Janelle Porter had done all this research about the biennial, the Lausanne Biennial, but her knowledge stopped at the end of the 90s. And she knew that there was feminist art, and she knew everything that had happened within fine art, she knew, but she knew nothing about, for example, the digital weaving or the new movement with the tapestries, the European tapestry movement. She didn't know anything about that. And so she writes a history in this book, and the history just says nothing about textile. And I think that we, the textile people, should make our own history, write it.
Well, you go on repeating the word craft. A lot of times you have missed when
Craft is important. Yes.
You say craft, which I think is very, I don't know. I know
it is art in a craft medium. I would call it that.
Okay, yeah. In this book, you have that song. There is people, artists like Teresa Lanceta. She's in the book.
In this book?
Yes.
Then she was one of the people I would call craft. Yes.
And also Daniel Giannone and Leo Chiacho, they are also in the book. And
we are not craft.
Yes. No, please.
Okay. Well, I found that it was a pity that this history, what Janelle Porter wrote, was so little interesting that it seemed that she didn't know anything about what happened since 1990. And I was so in favor of her because of this Boston book, where she did a great job and where I loved everything she wrote. So it was really a pity. And I find that the people who do craft, who do art in a craft medium, are underestimated and are still underpriced and are still not recognized. And Annie Albers said it, that if it is done on paper, it is art, and if it is done on textile, it is craft, and then it is 10 times less in value. And that is just because of women and because of the tradition, and this battle we still have to win, I think. And I think that, for example, Anna Torma, you know Anna Torma in Canada, she now has a very big exhibition in the Textile Museum of Toronto, and she is now on the point, I see her on the point of becoming internationally known, and she does embroidery in a sense of, she says of herself that she does art in a craft medium. And I see her coming out now in a wider context, and that should happen much more often. Whereas Leo and Danielle, they work in art, and by accident they do this in embroidery, and they do it very good. I admire them both very much, but they come clearly from an art point of view.
Yes. I think that one of the key points here is not only textile art, is contemporary art. In this book, in the last book, in Faidon's book, it says threads and fabrics or something like that in contemporary art, contemporary. And talking about Contextile, the Portuguese biennial, it is contemporary textile art. And in this biennial is a good example, Contextile, because it's a project I know very well. I have been collaborating with them from the first edition, and I have been in the jury several times. And at the beginning, I was a little bit confused because in the jury, we are usually 5 members. And at the beginning, I think in two occasions, I was the only textile people there. All the rest, museum curators and art gallery curators and so on. But I must say it's been a very, very interesting and enriching and learning experience. And I think they have learned from me as much as I have learned from them.
Yes, but they took the chance to learn from you. And they had a good person who knows everything. So in most juries, they don't have anyone who knows about craft.
Yeah. Well, but in this, what I look for now is in contemporary textile art, the 3 words, I need the 3 words, is a balance between the concept and the making. I mean, it's not you can make a beautiful you can weave beautiful tapestries, with beautiful embroideries, and you can, and at the end maybe sometimes they are just beautiful, very beautiful textiles, but nothing else. And contemporary art must be something else, and contemporary art is also different. It's not the same as the art from the 50s. In the 50s, or modernism, they were very worried about the technical questions and the shapes and the geometry and minimalism, abstraction, all that. But now contemporary art is different. It's very eclectic. And it must have a social message most of the times.
I make the example of Annie Albers. When Annie Albers makes something, it must not have a deeper concept. She makes just very good weavings. And since Annie Albers was at the Tate, they say weaving can be art too. So I think the other way around. They must do good weavings. They must lift that up in the vision of art, and not only the ones who have meaning you can explain with this. Because can you explain a work from Annie Albers in terms of concept?
No, because at that time it was modernism, Bauhaus, and it was another historical time. They were not worried at all about concept. They were worried about.
But if today somebody makes things as beautiful as Annie Albers, it must again be called art. And in the sense of Anna Torma, who makes beautiful stitchery, I think it is not more than just that she is called art. And she, of course, calls herself that she makes art. And we all see that. It's only the art world that doesn't see it sometimes. I think the textile artists are not so narrow-minded. It is the art world that is narrow-minded. And that is because they have no history. It's really important that there should be a history. Chanel Porter, she was so good as a writer, and she did so wrong in this book, Vitamin T, because she just didn't know. And how should she know if there are no books?
Yeah. I agree with you that one of the reasons why textiles are a little bit apart from the world of art is because there is no critical writing. There is no history. There is no
critical writing. But those who write critical, they are feminists, and they are put under they are not taken serious enough. There are also writers.
Well, feminism is in fashion now, so that's a point in favor.
Not so much. Not if you want. Well, that's another question. Mm-hmm.
It's another. Yeah. Okay, so you should write a history of textile art. Why don't you write it? Wouldn't you like to write a history of textile art?
I have thought about doing it, but then I got ill, and then it got forgotten because it is a huge work. And I have, on several times, I have asked people to send me the history of their country, because I can only overview Europe. I cannot write about America or anything. And then I thought, after I went ill, I'm not sure if I have the time to do it. I mean, it is a huge work to do it, and it should be done by several people. If this could be a beginning, then I would immediately agree to work with it. But I think I cannot do it alone.
Well, there are some questions here, and there is also I'm going to. There are many questions. Zulaima Malavé from Venezuela, I want to know, what do you think of the works of the ancestors? I mean, I understand pre-Columbian textiles. And what do you think of these works being the basis of new or contemporary textile work? What do you think of contemporary textile works which are based on pre-Columbian works?
I love that concept. I love it. And I think that those old works are works of art. And when you take them as a basis, there is one who did that. What was her name again? Danielle Contreras Flores from Chile. She had a talk in Contextile that was the best of all. It was fantastic, and it was about this. What did we have, and how do we honor that?
Yeah,
I think that is a very good idea. Yes, that's that. Yes, this was a work that was at a mini exhibition.
Uh-huh. I'm looking for another questions because there are so many. From Cynthia Barbosa from Chile, she says that it has called her attention what you have said in relation to artists that work with textiles but don't really know textile. She's starting this way, her way in textile art. And she would like to know how she can really know textile, where she can really learn textiles, in the academy, in university, in industry, in textile design, in craft.
She wants to go to learn somewhere.
Yes, and she's in Chile.
She is in Chile. Daniela said that she has come to Europe, but the best things are at home. So maybe if you can't travel, then go to the museums.
Yeah.
And study closely what's there, because I have seen wonderful things in the museum in Chile. Beautiful things. And if you want to know where are the best schools, that is very quickly said. The best schools are in London and in England. And the best way to become free is in Amsterdam and in Enschede, as far as I know. There are, of course, others, but if I am already an artist and I would like to become more free, then I would go to Holland. If you do a postgraduate something. And if you want to have a good education that is recognized everywhere and that everybody likes, when you need teaching something, then you go to London, and it's expensive there, but it is the best education you can have, I think. Do you agree?
I'm sorry, I was answering some questions. I'm sorry.
Okay, sorry.
Oh yeah, oh, sorry. Can you repeat, please?
I think that either London or in Holland, the two things I know.
To learn, yes. The UK, I don't know if London.
But if you are in Chile, then go to the museum and learn from the real, from the museums.
Yes, because also in Santiago de Chile, they have a wonderful museum of pre-Columbian.
Yes, I have been there. It's fantastic. Yes,
I have seen the pictures, and so they can learn. They have the best. Annie Alberts and Sheila Hicks were there to learn. Also.
Yes.
In other countries of Latin America, they have the best art, the best textile art there.
Yeah.
Okay, this is very interesting. There are a lot of questions and a lot of comments, but let's maybe change a little bit, another topic, because we have already been for a little bit more than an hour, maybe.
We have already more than an hour. Mm-hmm.
So, because I would like also to ask you, what do you think about the situation we are living now with the pandemic? How do you think it is affecting the textile community? Because exhibitions have been cancelled, there is no presential meetings for the moment. What do you think? How do you think things are developing? You have been in Portugal. We have been both.
And I was only one of 10, maybe there were 10 people who were there like me, who had not to speak and no works in the exhibition. All the others who were there, maybe were there 50, 60 people altogether. Yes, they had either a work in the exhibition or they had to speak. Yeah. And still it was, it traveled widely because it was done in a very professional way in online. And I think this must be the future. If people will not be able to travel so much anymore, and it must be done in the way we are trying now, that we reach out for each other by online media. And I have written something where the next online things take place, and it is really interesting because the New York Textile Month is also online.
Yes, I was going to talk about it also. Yes.
Yes. And you can take part in courses with really important people, and that is now. It is in September. And Selfridge, the virtual World Fair, they did it from 3 to 5 September. And they had online shopping and online courses, and that was the same thing. They had planned a World Fair, and then came the pandemic, and now they opened it online. And the pre-Biennale in Chile, of course, that is also what we are doing now. That is part of the pre-biennial. And that is also good. If you live in Chile, it's the only thing you can do in order to reach an audience. And then the Textile Society of America is doing their 17th biennial symposium. It's called Hidden Stories, Human Lives. It is from 15 October till 17. And there are very many lectures and courses like usual in their symposia. And you can take part in everything online. And I think that it is, you should do it. And then there is a traditional textile center of Cusco. They have held an auction online in order to help the weavers. And that too was great success. And I think that these are the things we have to learn now, and we have to learn quickly.
Yeah, I think that I was asking about Contextile because as I have been in the organization this year more than other years, there have been many doubts, because it was a great risk, even an economic, a financial risk, to do Contextile presential. But at the end, I think it has been very good. This mix of presential event, exhibition, presential event, and also online. And I know they are going to take the exhibition online also, as many exhibitions now. And I think it will be very interesting because many more people will be able to see the exhibition and to listen to the presentations.
Yes.
It has been only presential. So at the end, we have to look, I think, for this situation, which is, of course, very painful for many people and with so many sick people and dead people and all that. But it has also its positive parts. I think it changed the way. It has changed the way in which work and communicate, and I think this is going to stay, more or less. What do you think about this?
It's still very important to see it in real. There were several works, if I would not have been in Beatrijs, that I would not even have noticed on a screen. And so the combination of sometimes being able to go and spreading it more widely by online means, the combination of the two is important. And I was very grateful that they still did it, although they had 4 times more time, more difficulties, and less income, of course, and all kind of problems. And I'm so grateful that they did it, because it is, you see that you cannot replace the real by online. If it is only a replacement, that is not possible in the end. But
No.
the combination of some people can go and see it in real. For example, there was one girl, Magdalena, what was her name again? Magdalena from, yeah, and she made a theme, and that was, the theme was present, future, and past, and then as a first thing, and that she called it beyond, and it was something not religious, not spiritual, but beyond was the word she used, and that exactly you could feel when you saw her works, and that is something I think you could not see from pictures. I have looked at my pictures and I could not see it, and the word was exactly what you felt when you saw it, that it was something fallen out of time. And these things are in textiles very often, these atmospheric things. And if you don't see it then in real, then it would be a pity.
Yes.
And I think that is with all artworks, finally, not only textiles, but with all artworks.
I'm just hoping that when this finishes, when the pandemic is gone, we will go back to presential meetings, presential exhibitions, but I would like to have the online side also, because you cannot go anywhere, so that's making a lot of difference even for training and for education and for everything. Okay, let me see.
I'm going to Chile in any case when they let me fly. I'm coming.
Yes, me too. I think I will go also. I will try. Let me see. There is another question, because I think we have time. Well, there are many congratulations for you, and also for me. Well, Penina Barnett said that because I said there was no critical, there were not many history of textile art, and there were not many critical essays and many critical writing. And she says that she has been a teacher for many years, and there are many books. And
yes, and she is one of those writers who can write very good things on these difficult stories. So she should be one of those who I would like to see articles of her on that topic. And it is true, in England there are a lot of people who are, and they were all not asked in this entangled thing. They were the experts, and there are experts for craft or textiles. They were not asked. And that is kind of arrogance from the side of fine art, that they think they know it all. And of course they know it all when it is art, but that they maybe do not know all about craft and textiles, that's another thing.
And there is another question from Liliana from Buenos Aires that is asking you, what do you think of textile sculpture?
Oh, I like it, of course. Does she mean if I like it, or?
It's just like, it's a short question like that.
Okay.
What do you think?
Since the beginning of the revolution in textiles, people made textile sculptures. It was the freedom from the wall and the three-dimensional, and it is with us since long, and it should stay with us, I think. There is a retour to the wall now in the movement of the tapestry. The European tapestry community has very many back to the wall things, but it should stay also that there are textile sculptures, of course.
Okay, is there anything I think we can be finished soon? Is there anything else you would like to tell? Any advice, for example? I like to finish these encounters asking the guests if they have any advice or recommendation for artists, for textile artists. At the beginning, I was asking for recommendations for young textile artists, but now I ask for every artist.
Okay, for every artist. I think it's important that they go their own way, and that they do not listen too much to advices from others like me, and that they do exactly what they want to do. And even if it is out of every role and out of everything, that they just do what they want, because artists have this ability to express things that you do not know, but you feel it. And in this sense, they must practice this expression of what they feel or what they have to say. And that can only be done when they are very self-assured. And so I wish them for self-assurance and for the courage to go ahead in their own way.
I think it's a really good advice, very good advice. Okay, I just want to say anything else, please.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I had still two works some of the works that I have not shown, and that is Juliana Uribe Villa from Colombia. That was one of the artists I had not known before, and I was very impressed with her. That is picture number 12.
Juliana Uribe. Sorry.
Yes, this is only a small picture, and this is done by taking threads off, and I found it so incredible. She has made larger works, so incredible, precise, and good done that I have not so often seen something so well done like her work. And then there is another one, that is Elvira del Cambach Imbach from Uruguay. So these are the people I have noticed in just some of them in South America. And yes, you can't really see it, but the picture is not so good. But you see there are portraits in these laces, and they give a very airy feeling and a very poetic feeling. And I think it had a prize in one of the things when I was a jury, and I liked it very much. So these together with Daniela are the favorites I found immediately in my remembrance. But there are more, of course.
Okay, anything else?
Okay. Mm-hmm. Thank you, Lala.
No, thank you to you. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. It has been very, very interesting talking to you again. It has been very interesting. I think we have a very interested audience. And just I want to thank again the organizers for giving us this opportunity, for giving me this chance to have here Beatrijs and all the other people, the other guests. Thank you so much.